footprint bear, as they are not wearing shoes that they casted, and it was Jack. We know that's not true either. Well, the fact that she has all of these reasons, Amy, are you okay? Says if she didn't think DM was shouting at the kids wasn't urgent, it's certainly a normal occurrence. Well, she's got an answer for everything, just like Daniel in all of this. Good to see you, sweet tea. Like she has to get the CBC over and let the world know exactly why it was that she was crying that particular day. Think about how fucked up that is. How narcissistic that is of you. That's all in response to what you heard come from Belinda at that moment in time. But there's far more into just the need to have to share that with the world, exactly why she was crying. Whatever her reason is going to be a fucking lie and a manipulation. You shouldn't have to tell people why it is that you were emotional on the day that you reported 2 children missing. That should go without any explanation. It's nobody's business. But why is it that you need to have everybody know or think that it was because whatever happened to Jack and Lily, you could have prevented it? Well, technically that's true. You could have not been a complete fucking idiot. You could have not been a complete abusive, manipulative piece of shit who hated on Malaya and the kids at every step of the way. You could have been a different person, had a different attitude towards them. But the fact that she's so emotional that she wants to tie herself to whatever it is, the fate of Jack and Lily, that's really what she's saying. She's mad because she's associated with it.
There was a bench sitting here, or a sawhorse, it's over there, was sitting here. I was sitting on it, bawling my eyes out. I was crying because I blame myself for not getting up that morning to see the kids. Because if I would have got up, this wouldn't have never happened. Okay? That's why I was crying.
We've heard a lot about the patio.
Boy, that's clear as mud. Why isn't you can't communicate any sort of point throughout this entire interview? Anybody pick up on that? There's not a clear conversation from this woman. In fact, it's quite the obvious. Or the opposite, excuse me. Tom Lou saying, you're talking about Malaya being in the hospital? She must be trying to get access to say she wasn't in her right mind. I would say she's probably in that fucking hospital because the RCMP are asking her questions. She needs to get in there to get herself all busy and occupied. Know what I mean? It's a form of avoidance. But it's not going to work. It's a form of drawing things out, just like she's doing right now. Malaya has it in her power to bring all of this to an end. All of it. And she refuses to. So, the cops are going to have to do this the hard way. And they're not going to go very nice on you in the court of law. What kind of fucking morons clinch on to thinking that the kids that were just in their home moments ago are somehow still magically alive out there somewhere? You're the assholes who called RCMP with the emergency. So when did that emergency begin and where did it end for these individuals? It's not our emergency, it's your emergency.
Apparently Lily was the only one that was sick. I think the reason why Jack didn't go to school is because I didn't think Jack. I don't think she wanted Jack to go to school by herself. That's my opinion. They missed school to Thursday. Yes, they went to town Thursday around lunchtime. I have no idea what they went. I do not even know what they bought. I heard them out in the yard here Thursday afternoon. And when I heard them out, my dog started barking. My dog tells me when the kids are in the yard. Okay? I went out, when they heard them out in the yard, my dog started barking. I opened the door and let...
Actually, hold on there, Janie, crazy old bat. Michelle in my chat brought up a point here. I think MBM drinking alcohol heavily. She's trying to forget. Her math has been cut off, or other substances. Stop right there. Yeah. The fact that they're under heavy surveillance and the world is looking at them, everybody in their immediate knows what's happened. They can't just walk around fucked up like they did before. So it's changed a little bit. And that's the worst part about quitting anything, is when you first decide to drop it and you sober up just a slight bit, you start to remember and realize the reason why you started in the first place. And then the anxiety takes over. And then if you're weak like these guys are, you just go back to it. And especially all of your own chemical and how imbalanced that you really are, and your dopamine levels, getting back to normal or shelf state might take some time. It might not even be possible, considering all the damage that they've done to themselves at this point. Lifelong customers. Michelle says, I think MBM drinking alcohol heavily. She's trying to forget. Her math has been cut off. Reality is setting in. That's the key statement right there. Reality setting in. She can't run. She can't run away. And I see a lot of her issues were from being an untreated addict. Yeah. Yeah, she's going to have to get a hold of that probably right away. But look who she's hanging around. Like, she's got no real guidance in that set. She's developed a poor relationship with Cindy, but yet dependent. Still a young girl. She's just matured. 27, 28. Malaya was even so vague in her call to the RCMP. She said the children may have left the property. Yeah, may have left the property. Yeah, and they're known to wander. She's contradicted her own self. And that they have possible autism. Tells me that I'd love to talk to the CAS woman, because that was probably a real factor in the conversation or whatever the issues back in December were. Sarah says, I hear spite, resentment. Oh yeah, you can. It just pours out of her. The whole topic is off-putting. Do you know why? Because her existence is in that goddamn RV, and the whole reason she's in this nasty RV that she has to lie to herself and everybody else that she's enjoying is because of Malaya, not because of Daniel. She's got her own reasons, right? So the way she can't lie to people about the way that she talks about the situation, even in a generalized manner. She's a real piece of work. Darlene, I believe she went into self-destruct mode, meaning Malaya. I hope she's in treatment and getting the help she needs. She probably drank herself right into the hospital, because that's the only way that she knows how to deal with her problems, especially when she's all by herself and there's no children around at this point. There's all kinds of time to think. And she doesn't seem like a person who really wants to face reality at any point in time, especially at this point in time. Yeah, Carol. Yeah, Shannon, just like the RCMP indicated in all of their language and ridiculous, Friday's story, you could say, was implied. Their entire claims of the story are implied. There's nothing direct about this Friday scenario. They didn't even want to say that they interacted with the kids, none of them. So that would automatically mean that they really didn't interact or deal with the children since Thursday. At what time? They don't even want to, and when you ask them, they don't want to speak about it. There's a loose reference to how Malaya put them to bed, and then their time frames are so mismatched, and Daniel's is wide open. Meanwhile, they spent the entire afternoon and evening all within 20 feet of one another. Wherever Janie's standing right there isn't 15 feet away from the living room. You can hear everybody's conversation where they are right there. There's no hiding anything or anybody on this particular property. It's not like that's even remotely possible, especially for a busybody like old Janie. Old Whisper 2000 here. Yeah, Shannon, I'm with you. I'm with you in that line of thinking. I just, in that sense, want more evidence before I start speaking in depth about it. Because I don't want to make that jump for people. I'd rather the evidence already be out there and then have a reason to talk about it. But you can talk about it up to the point, because considering how everybody in this particular little group of Janie, Darren, Daniel, and Ken act, especially from the public perspective, are identical to how Chomos act and behave for the exact same reasons. Well, I think old Kent has a whole collection of CP somewhere. Darren's a connoisseur of it. Yeah, that's in a generalized. I agree with you, Lori. In your opinion, if you sit and watch your children be abused, well, to be honest with you, that's going to be different for Malaya than it is for us. Malaya has grown up with a real gray area when it comes to abuse. The way that she describes it through what Wade says, she's putting up with a lot. She's putting herself through it like it's normal. Tells me that it's probably been normalized throughout her house, or throughout her life to a degree. It wasn't just her dog that Janie originally mentioned when telling Officer Mason they were not allowed in. She did not want them in her cupboard, which she now denies having. In Tweaker Geographic a cover of. And you're wanting us to believe it. It's you out there making and beautifying and decorating your home. No, it's a bunch of tweakers tweaking is what it is. Tweakers love to tweak to wood. That's a thing. Okay? Tweakers and wood are a thing. Janie's also saying that it was her and Daniel working together on God knows what at that point in time, where she associates it to her last sighting with Jack and the salamander.
And nail the other end. Anybody that knows that, anybody that does carpentry knows that that's impossible to do. To get that it balanced and hold one end up and the other end drop.
Fuck, you don't know anything about carpentry. Listen to old Red Green here. If anybody that knows carpentry knows that that's impossible to do. Not if you're good. Not if you grab the right level. So you can have the level on the wood. Just level it the right way. Can even prepare ahead of time by, using a pencil or a line, and then you can throw your nail in the nail gun, line it up, boom, and then go hold the other end up, boom. These are light wood, pieces of wood, Janie. So why is it you have the necessity to lie so hard on something that's so blatantly fucking obvious to the rest of the world? Why are you choosing to make yourself look like a complete ignoramus and a person who has just fabricating as opposed to actually doing it? So she's saying that if you don't believe me, you're stupid. You know nothing about anything if you dare question what it is that I'm claiming here. The hallmarks of a con artist. Carol says, Janie, we know the pool is absurd. The only way I think she may have considered it reasonable is misunderstanding the phrase carpool and therefore installing a pool in her driveway like a dingback. Listen, she has to nail down this ridiculous Swiss cheese-like alibi because it's what she told investigators. It helps her remember, too. It's her that needs to sew it in order for it to benefit her in the long run as a baseline for her defense. Because we all know if these people were your fucking babysitters and you came home with a date night with your wife or husband and the kids were missing and this is how your babysitters were acting, would you have a problem with it? Well, wasn't their fault. They don't know what happened. It's no different in my mind. They're acting incredibly suspicious. And it's not just the drugs. It's not just the tweak. They're all tweaking. And they're getting violent. That's why you assholes needed to go and call your entire families to come over and help search for a couple kids who you guys had already disposed of. It was your way of weaving the fabric of this disinformation on a bunch of people because Janie recommended it. She's the leader of this pack. It starts somewhere, and it starts with Janie. Janie's the key piece of pressure because, again, it's not Daniel or Malaya's house. They had all kinds of financial fucking problems. Yeah, that's blatantly obvious. No more obvious to the person who owns the property, and this will Cruella DeVille here on your screen. Michelle, thank you for that super sticker, darling. $10. Wow! I appreciate that. Think about how she talked about the last time that she saw Jack. You think that she could go into real specific detail about that, and how that would maybe affect you. Nice salamander, asshole. Get away. I'm waiting for my son to build this fence. It's of the utmost importance. Can you fucking imagine living in that shithole and being worried about the fence? Talk about lying to yourselves. You're so concerned about this shitty looking fence, you would at least think that you might want to make it look good. Just because you threw the last part of the stain on the fence doesn't make it look good. It looks like a shipping container around there. In fact, you should have went and got shipping pallets and put them up, as opposed to try to build them. Should have just looked online. You guys are the dumbest fucking bunch of peeps. Like, you really got to get a load of this fence. Not fencing out a whole lot. Like, take a look at the space between the boards, number one. So it's certainly not for any privacy. It's just a little project. It's a tweaker's project. And he loves it. Isn't that right, Danny boy? Tom Lou, thank you, darling. What a great super sticker. Maybe Janie should have bought a pressure washer to clean the outside of her RV. Well, I get them around $150 at Canadian Tire. That's half an 8-ball.
After Daniel helped me, I continue putting the boards on the fence. But there was another fence on the other side that was there before that. So I was out there doing my fence. Jack and Lily were in the backyard playing. I came in the house to have some supper. I do not know when the kids went in the house. I don't know what time they went to bed. I don't know anything of that.
You know she's lying. She wants to distance herself from the scenario and the circumstances leading up to when they reported the kids lying. She'd rather have you believe her and think nothing more of it, like you're not going to still wonder what time it was. She wants you to know at that point in time that she's got no idea what time any of that happened, even though we're at this juncture of the investigation and case. You think by now that you would have had all of your times in your mind because of how you talked to Malaya, how you talked to Daniel. You might have asked questions after the fact. You might have gotten to learn a time, but no. She's so adamant about not knowing any of the times, and she's satisfied with that. Simply for the sake of trying to convince people of this absurd alibi. It's already bad enough. She doesn't need it to look any worse. Carol says Jeannie and Oliver misplaced pride about not wanting to be judged while living in a filthy dump that they made no attempt to improve until the kids were gone. Not for Jack and Lily. Filthy for them. Right. Morale around that place was at an all-time low. It has everything to do with the financial irresponsibility of Daniel because of his microdosing on the daily with his math habit. And wouldn't you know? That's a commonality of the drug, but Daniel wants to walk around and just feel one of a kind and special as opposed to just another slave to the drug. That's all you are, Daniel, and that's why you're predictable. And that's why it's easy to pick out your deception at all times. That supersedes everything. And the damage those drugs did to you. Anastasia in Cleveland, thank you very much. I love your passion and frankness. Thank you for fighting for justice for Jack and Lily. Listen, that just comes with calling out the bullshit and the lies. Thank you very much. I appreciate the donation. The only time I've ever heard the word frig used as a verb is Janie saying she frigged up the time in Trailer Park Boys theme. Oh, I see. Did I say frig? Or did she say frig? I say frig the on time. It's a Canadian thing. Oh, this is far beyond the Trailer Park Boys level. This has everything to do with murder. And the Trailer Park Boys aren't into crystal. These guys are into crystal, not cannabis. Janie was so focused on the raking for the pool for the kids, but couldn't dump out the water that's been sitting in the toy kitchen growing mosquitoes. The good news is you don't have to worry much about mosquitoes first thing in the spring. Oh, they're outdoor toys. Somebody did bring up how interesting it would be to know what happened to that half a piece of tarpaulin that was covering the playhouse of the children's where the slide comes down. It's interesting how it tore off only half of it, as though it was torn off on purpose, as opposed to deteriorated. Daniel's going to be with those super stickers. Daniel's going to be pimping himself out in prison in the very, very near future. I can see it. He's going to have a gender change.
That's all I can tell you is from what I told you. My brother called me at 8:48. We talked for 2 minutes, 59 seconds. After that, I laid down. My dog barked because Lily and Jack were here where the swings are. I have a board up over my window. I did not see them because the board was closed. The reason I have a board up over my window is for the winter time to keep the draft out.
No, that's something you don't have to explain. We get it. You don't need Mother Nature to rub in just how lovely it is to be outside as opposed to in that nasty old fucking RV all of the time. You think that she's bitter about, this and that around the house. Think about how nasty of a person she would be to live around, living every day in that nasty fucking RV, having to deal with her own stink. She can't even go have a good soak in a bubble bath. She can't even make herself anything good to eat. She's got to go inside that trailer. I wonder how that happens. I wonder if she just barges in or if she knocks on her own door. Oh, hey, it's Grandma. Grandma's here to take a shit. Daniel's always in the goddamn bathroom fucking smoking his crystal. So you really have got to schedule things. The place would have been a walking, ticking time bomb. People ready to go off on one another at any point in time. Oh, hey, Durwood, is that you? The fuck out of here.
And for the summertime, to keep the sun out.
Welcome, Lady Lex.
I heard them Friday morning. I swear.
Of course you want to keep the sun out. I just use a goddamn old board in front of the window to keep the sun out. Because you all know what the sun does to vampires. My evil only comes out at night. That sounds like a true tweaker. Fucking hate the sun. Suffering from a vitamin D deficiency for sure. I keep the sun out. Let me tell you why I have it there. He's got no point but to sit there and stare at the goddamn thing if it is even up there. Come up with all kinds of reasons to justify it, make yourself feel better. Oh, yes. That looks so much better there. Oh, fuck. Woo, that's some good thinking on my part. No more draft, no more sunshine, no more draft, no more hole in my wall. Man. It's a real downgrade in your own home. This is what Janie's life has gotten to. But she still can't get around her own ignorant senses in that sense. Why did that start moving? Hold on. Start playing on its own. Charmaine was on the phone with Daniel and Janie came in screaming it's her goddamn trailer and she'll come in when she wants. Too bad Charmaine won't share it if she was the one recording it. Listen, that'd be a funny clip to hear. I'd use it all the time. Let's hear it. Let's get it out there and in circulation. Put it out there. Let's hear it. This is my fucking trailer, Danny. That's not the first time she's said that. And shit flows downhill. When it comes to generational abuse in this sense, Daniel just takes that and puts it onto Malaya. He's got nowhere to escape to. His mom is pissed off at him. Malaya's leaving him. He's listening to all kinds of Hank Williams as he's getting high. And then the next thing he knows, he's lashing out. He lashed out onto the kids because they're the most vocal. They have got no idea what's going on, but they carry on. The more they scream and the more they giggle and yell, it seems like they're joking at this tweaker. They're all happy. Well, old Mr. Grumpy Pants is going to put that happiness to sadness real quick. And he's going to go hands-on with the kids. He's going to discipline them in that sense. He doesn't think of it as disciplining them. He thinks of it as raising them. He never even considered it. That's all the work that old Malaya wouldn't do. He was forced to do it. There's nobody else around. To me, Daniel's vanishing vehicle is crazy and can't believe it isn't considered obstruction. Curious if the RCMP has demanded to know why he did or what he did with it. Well, only they know right now. They're all obsessed with Malaya's car. I think it all had to do with, with trying to keep the focus on, something that it wasn't. Typical criminal. That's what it is. It's freaking me out there. Hold on.
Door.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's go
gladly.
see that.
Sure.
So this
Sure, I'll
is
put the blame back on
This is the
kids right
patio
here.
door
that Jack and Lily would have.
that Jack and Lily came out of.
And so tell us why we've heard about the patio door.
Because everybody's saying on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok that the patio door makes a noise. And why?
So no matter what, her answer here should be important, but this is again a non-answer. Instead of telling the world why it's important that the door is a factor in all of this, without telling you it's because we need to find a reason to put the blame back onto the kids for voluntarily leaving on their own, to wanting to change it to something that really has no real point to it. It's important that she shows it on the CBC because there's people on social media that say it doesn't make a noise. What does that have to do with where Jack and Lily are at this point, or what happened? The fact that they don't want to tell you that within one sentence or statement would tell you that they're deceiving you. Yes, indeed.